Hello everybody and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode of New Music Weekly, the show where I give you guys the top prog news headlines, introduce you guys to some new prog singles, and give you updates on what's happening on the channel here at Nathan on Shuffle. So it's March 14th, 2026. I did a show about 2 weeks ago. I'm doing these about every 2 weeks now. I think that allows enough news to accumulate and have interesting shows to talk about. And I like to just talk about the new releases that have come out and some of the prog news items, new singles, new albums that are eminently about to be released, touring news, new reissues and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we do here on this episode. So if you're interested on hearing prog news updates every couple weeks, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I'd really appreciate it. I also do all kinds of prog reviews of different albums. Every month I do a roundup of my favorite releases for the month, and sometimes I invite my wife on and have her listen to a new prog song for the first time. So a lot of fun to be had here, and hopefully you guys are enjoying yourself this weekend. So firstly, the new releases that have come out recently that are prog related. One lesser known one, Legs on Wheels, and their album Gobble. This you might categorize in the post-punk category with bands like Black Midi and Black Country New Road. But to my ears, there's quite a strong Gentle Giant component to this, almost as if this was Gentle Giant brought into kind of the modern age. So I was really adoring this record. I strongly recommend it. It'll definitely be on my March Roundup episode if you want to hear more of my thoughts then. Also, we've got Major Parkinson releasing this weekend. Their album's called Velisa Chapter 2, Viva the Apocalypse. It's kind of like, eclectic prog / kind of prog pop. Very cool, very dark, but very catchy and very hooky. Just a fun record to listen to. A band from Norway that just does things in their own unique manner, and I absolutely love it. So that's one of the highlighted releases this weekend. And two classic Canterbury bands released new records this weekend as well. Gong released their new album Bright Spirit, and Soft Machine released their album 13. So if you're into the more jazzy Canterbury type style, there's a lot to enjoy on those records as well. So some interesting things coming out. And there's quite a host of new albums coming out throughout March and into April as well. So there should be a lot to talk about and look forward to. Next are prog news items. Devin Townsend announces an ambitious orchestral metal opus called The Moth. Devin Townsend is a Canadian metal musician who's super progressive, has done so many different things. He's kind of like the modern equivalent to like a Frank Zappa figure, doing all kinds of quirky and zany different things, and he's had so many different releases. And The Moth is kind of a personal project for him to just do this big kind of opus that he's had in his head. And he's done a performance of this already that's been streamed, so a lot of people have seen his vision for this, but this is his official album release for the studio album version of the album. So it's going to be available on several formats. Limited deluxe 3 CD plus Blu-ray art book that features the album on CD1, The Moth the Afterlife on CD2, and The Moth the War Live on CD3. The Blu-ray includes the full The Moth the War Live film, as well as Dolby Atmos and high-resolution stereo mixes of The Moth and The Moth Afterlife. It'll also be available as limited 2 CD edition, including The Moth the Afterlife on CD2, standard CD jewel case, and has gatefold, triple gatefold, 180-gram, 2LP, and fold-out LP booklet, as well as digitally. So a big, massive project. 24 tracks on the main album. And then we've got disc 2, which features, I believe, the album with like orchestration, if I remember it correctly. And then you've got like the live performance, which is the third disc of this opus. If you get the big, 3 CD set, or, all of the bells and whistles and earbooks and all that. So yeah, it's just kind of a culmination of Devin Townsend's life's work and all the stuff circulating in his mind musically. And I'm excited to hear it. I haven't heard the streamed version of The Moth. I'm not like the biggest Devin Townsend fan because I don't care for the more aggressive, growling vocal style that he sometimes brings into his music. But there's so much eclectic things. There's always going to be something to kind of grab your ear with his music. I really like the album Empath, which has some of those harsher moments, but also a lot of variety, a lot of prog stuff. and a grand cinematic scope, and I bet this will kind of have the same feel. So yeah, I wanted to mention that at the top of the show here. A pretty major release from Inside Out. And if you like the more experimental metal side of the prog equation, this should be an exciting release to look forward to. More in my wheelhouse, my item number 2 is Advent Horizon announced a new album, Falling Together, and they've released the first single from it called Past Life Parable. I love Advent Horizon. If you watch my channel, I'm a big fan. I reviewed their previous album, A Cell to Call Home, which I gave high praise to. It was one of my favorite records in 2023. And I'm really excited to talk about this new record when it drops, when I'm able to listen to it. The album is coming out May 15th, so mark your calendars for that date. They're more in the more melodic, prog category. Modern sounding, a little bit of a vibe of like a Haken, but not quite as metally. Definitely has some kind of Rush vibes to their sound. But it's just fantastic melodic modern prog, done expertly well. And I'm just a fan of their melodies and their, hooks, and they draw you in with really great choruses and melodies and earworms, and then bring a little bit of proggy spice on top of it. And this album in particular has a 19-minute track to start the record, so they're experimenting with a bit of an epic here, which always makes me excited. So I'm really excited. Riley McDonald is kind of the main man behind the band and doing a lot of the writing, and he's kind of the front man here. And the single is incredible. Check it out in my singles list. I'll be mentioning it throughout the show, that I have a link to a YouTube playlist that features all the songs that I'm talking about throughout the episode here. So really great track. I'm really excited. This could be a contender for my favorite release of the year. Which is saying a lot because of how much I love the latest Big Big Train and Neil Morse Band records. But this is just a band I really root for and I love personally. So I'm excited to get to check out their new album. It's available for pre-order. You can check out their Bandcamp page and also their band website where you can pre-order the album. I think there's a different pre-order link for like the US market and for the European market. I've had my pre-order in blue vinyl, I believe it is. That'll be exciting to get that package in the mail and to be able to really enjoy this record. So I'm really excited for that one. May 15th, that will be coming out. Just to remind you, the album is called Falling Together. Quite excited. Item number 3, Teramaze share a new single, The Invisible Countdown, from their upcoming new album, The Silent Architect. This is an Australian progressive metal outfit. They are quite prolific. They've released a lot of records in pretty short span of time. So their new one is coming up, releasing on May 8th, The Silent Architect. The first single is out. They're just very solid, just cool, heavy, melodic, prog metal music. And I think it's excellent. They have a great lead singer. And they always bring great melodic sounds to the equation. Not too much far removed from Advent Horizon's kind of vibe. They have that, but maybe a little more on the metal side on this one. But yeah, check out the single. It's in my singles list. And the new album should be an exciting one. I believe on their website they have pre-order links available as well for that. So May is shaping up to be pretty exciting between those. Their new Crown Lands album, which I've mentioned in previous episodes. Crown Lands, a fantastic duo, Rush-inspired. They've released a big epic already from the record, so that's coming out in May. Item number 4, Yes is to release an expanded and remastered edition of From a Page in April. This is going to be out on April 24th. This was their 2019 mini album that they released through Yes Records. Really interesting little release. It's hard to know if this is kind of in the canon of Yes or just kind of a side project of a sort. But this was recorded by the 2008 to 2011 lineup of Yes. Chris Squire, Steve Howe, Alan White, Benoit David, and Oliver Wakeman from writing sessions in Phoenix, Arizona, following a show in Zacatecas, Mexico. So interesting sessions, some interesting tracks if you're interested in the band and that iteration, and cool to see that it's getting a bit of a reissued version here. Available as a 2 CD box set and double vinyl LP featuring artwork from Roger Dean. Box set includes 2 CDs, a booklet with expanded liner notes by Oliver Wakeman. a fold-out poster and 5 art cards packaged in a clamshell box. The double LP features the audio pressed on 2 180-gram half-speed mastered vinyl, packaged in a gatefold sleeves, showcasing the majestic artwork Roger Dean designed for this album. So mix and remastered by Carl Groom of Threshold, incorporating the original 4 songs along with alternate keyboard versions of 3 songs from Fly From Here, featuring Oliver Wakeman's keyboard parts from the original writing sessions, replacing the keyboard parts added by Downs. Disc 1 also features the studio version of the Chris Squire written song Aliens, which was played during the 2008 In the Present tour, to create the album, which was envisioned prior to Trevor Horn's arrival. Disc 2 involves demo versions of many of the songs. So, a lot of cool little curios for Yes fans for this iteration, and it seems like it's really being helmed by Oliver Wakeman here. So just an interesting little piece of the band that I thought was interesting. So if you're interested in that, that'll be releasing in April 24th. Up for pre-order as well if you go Google search it and find the link to pre-order that one. Another interesting, this is like a little tidbit, but item number 5, Steven Wilson and Mikael Akerfeldt have there's been a little rumblings that they are kind of planning to make another album together. Nothing concrete, no actual dates or any kind of concrete information. I think this was just from an interview that was had recently with Mikael Akerfeldt, where he talked about the fact that things are kind of lining up. They're kind of both closing out their current touring cycles. Steven Wilson finishing up his tour for the Overview, and of course Opeth doing their tour for Will and Testament records. So it seems like there's talks and rumblings of them getting together and working on a follow-up to 2012's Storm Corrosion. Seems like the initial idea is for it to basically be Storm Corrosion 2, but they're kind of seeing how it plays out, like what comes out of the creativity when they work together. So that should be a really interesting project to look forward to. Cool that these two big figures, maybe two of the biggest figures in modern progressive rock and metal, coming together. And Storm Corrosion is a very, very unique, cool album. So it'll be interesting to see what they do together creatively. Two of the best modern creative minds in the business. Aside from that, I'll talk about some singles that have come out that are on my singles list. Like I said, check out the description. There's a link where you can go to the YouTube playlist that has all these singles included if you want to just play through them to get a feel for some of these recent things. I mentioned the Devin Townsend album, which has a single associated with it. Enter the City is the name of that one. We've also got the Advent Horizon track, Past Life Parable, which I absolutely adore. The Invisible Countdown from Teramaze is also on there. And we've got a new single from the Deer Hunter called The Marauders. I'm one of the biggest fans you could ever meet for the Deer Hunter. I absolutely adore them. Their new album, Sunya, comes out next weekend. I'm going to be listening to that nonstop next weekend and for sure putting out a review for that one. The 2 singles have already been mind-blowing, so I'm positive that's going to be a glowing, gushing review of mine. I love the Deer Hunter and what they do. You got to check them out if you haven't heard them. There's a new single from Subsignal with their new vocalist. The track is called Hirieth. This is with vocalist Nick Holloman, known for his versatility, taking center stage with the band. Founding members David Burtok and Ralph Schwager are returning, and this song explores themes of longing and transience, offering a first glimpse of this new lineup and iteration of the band. Really good stuff. Just a solid melodic, prog rock track. And Green Carnation has a new track, I Am Time. The Norwegian prog rockers coming up with an album, A Dark Poem Part 2, Sangui, which comes out through Season of Mist on April 3rd. The second part of this planned trilogy, kind of mixing and blurring the lines between prog and metal. And a lot of people loved the first part. And this one's shaping up to be just as good as that one was. So there you have it. That's the episode for today. As for the channel itself, it's been fairly quiet as of recent times. I did do a cool episode that I want to bring your attention to where I talked about my top 6 classic prog bands. You know, a lot of people talk about what the big 6 prog bands are, and I decided to tackle that with my own take of what my personal big 6 are, that somewhat differs from the traditional big 6, because there's certain prog bands that just have touched me more deeply than others, even if some of those others have, you know, massive critical acclaim. So I thought it was interesting. A lot of comments on that, a lot of interest, and I'll definitely be doing a follow-up to that. Probably not this week, but maybe in the near future, of my favorite modern progressive rock bands, you know, top 6. I think that should be a lot of fun, and a lot of great comments I'm sure can come from that sort of a discussion. So that's my main video that I've put out recently, that I want to point you to, and hopefully coming up soon we'll get some cool new reviews. Like I mentioned, the Deer Hunter Sunya review. At the end of this month, I'll be doing a March roundup of reviews, and leading into to May, we got Crownlands, Event Horizon, New Elder. There's going to be a bunch of albums that I'm sure I'll be spotlighting and talking about. So let me know how you guys are doing out there. If you're having a good time, what prog-related activities and news that you're aware of. I would be very interested to know your thoughts and takes on things, anything that I may have missed in this episode today. So thank you guys for joining me, for sticking around. Sorry that the content's been a bit lighter this year. I'm trying to balance everything going on in my life, and I know that it's not quite as prominent. There's not quite as many episodes as I've done in the past, but I'm settling into a good groove that I think is sustainable for me, and that's what's important, because I want to be motivated and keep this channel alive. And if I overwork myself and try to cram too many videos when I've got a lot of other stuff going on in my life, it's just not going to work. So but I feel pretty happy with the balance thus far. So thank you guys, and enjoy the music. Bye everybody.